The village of Dolton may have found itself in another tight spot after refusing to pay an older judgment. Now, on June 25th, 2024, the plaintiff, David Graham, and his attorney filed a citation to discover assets. If the judge honors this motion, the village's bank account could be frozen, and that will prove detrimental for the village. So let me explain. This type of freeze can happen when a court orders a judgment against a party, and if that party fails to pay up, the court can authorize collection actions like freezing the bank account, and not just for the amount of the judgment, but at the judge's discretion, up to sometimes 3 times that amount. Now, in Dolton's case, this freeze could halt the town's transactions and financial activities until the outstanding payment is made. But in light of the allegations that the village is in the red, one might wonder if there are enough funds to cover such a judgment. So here's a question. If the village of Dolton's bank account, assets, financials would have been handled correctly, then it begs to question, would there have ever been a motion for citation to discover assets threatening to have the bank account frozen? So that's a good question. I don't even think that they should even be in this position. A mere 220K, of course, an average layperson such as ourselves, that may seem like a fortune. But for an entity, that particular amount of money should be securely placed or adequately funded in the bank account for this entity. But just a sidebar. If this is your first time tuning in to Southern Confidential, welcome. And for all my returning subscribers, welcome back. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for all updates. We would love to have you as a part of the SC family. Now, back to our story. Definitely has a duty to make good on that particular judgment. And then you have to ask yourself, why hasn't the village paid this judgment? It's serious. Now it's been escalated to a point where the account for the entire village could be frozen. So there's probably not enough money in the account to honor the particular judgment, if you ask me. But there again, that's alleged, and that is just my opinion. Of course, there's a lot to discover about this case, and I will post a link to the description of the original lawsuit filed by David Graham. He was a police officer for Dolton. This goes back a decade, guys. But as we said, what you do now will impact you in the future. So now that the mayor is in office, she has to deal with making good on the judgment made against Dolton before she was even the mayor. Now, what Mr. Graham alleges is that the village of Dolton engaged in retaliation of the Whistleblower Act, violation of the Public Employee Disability Act, violation of the Illinois Wage Payments and Collection Act against him. So there's a lot that goes with this case. I did just want to give you an idea of what was going on in case you heard about this newest order that threatens to freeze the bank account of the village of Dolton. Let's be clear, that has not happened yet. But when such an order, a citation to discover assets is made, part of what happens in the typical situation is that all of the assets for that particular bank account is frozen while they sort out what amount they can place a lien on to secure the judgment made against that particular entity. So that's how that goes. So in case you are not aware, these legal matters can take years, right? to make its way through the courts. So on February 28th, 2024, the circuit court entered an order granting an award to David Graham of the $203,000 plus that we talked about earlier in attorney fees, and then the $13,000 plus in cost. Now, since then, the village has failed to tender the payment pursuant to this order and now faces a citation to discover assets, which could freeze the village's bank accounts in an amount probably way more than they even have available in the fund, and then presumably with interest. So this is a case of the village's chickens coming home to roost. As you can see, this is quite a mess. And of course, the matter can be cured if the village simply tenders the amount of the judgment. But as we are aware, there is an alleged deficit that will prevent them from paying the judgment amount, and only time will tell. Now, thank you for tuning in to Southern Confidential. And for more on this developing story, please don't forget to subscribe and like and share the video. And we will see you on our next video. Toodles!